So what I have gone through so far is pretty much the entire list. I still have to go through pretty much the last third of the list, which they don't have a lot of volume, not a lot of gap up on these setups. But we'll still look. I was looking at Adobe. I don't know if I like Adobe or not for today. It's kind of a higher price name as well. I know it's 590 bucks. Trust me, I know. But it's a good setup. It really is a good setup. Big gap up here in pre-market after they have agreed to terminate their merger, which apparently the market found to be of good value. And it is something that I may want to watch today because the market did like that they did terminate that merger. So I want to see maybe after the open. Maybe it's something to look at. Maybe it's something to look at. D.A. Davidson with a $640 price target on the stock. So that is right over the all-time high. Well, actually, an all-time high, 52-week high. I mean, you've got a pretty nice range on it. You got a pretty nice range on it. So for me, it's something that I want to watch off of maybe like a 590, and for that reason, I don't even know if I really like it on Adobe. I might focus on my other names more. We've still got some other nice setups too, other than Adobe. I might have it up on my screens to look at. I'm gonna post it up as news, and I may watch it. As of right now, though, I'd rather put more focus on the other names, the lower priced names. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get my sort of plan on Adobe posted up. I just don't really like it a whole lot yet, so I'm gonna post it up. But I do like Snap, I like Neo, I like EDU. All of those look great. I just don't know about Adobe yet. I'm still gonna post it just so I can watch it, but not too sure of plan just yet on Adobe. So Adobe's posted up. Adobe's okay. Oxy. Not a whole lot of range on Oxy. Joby, no volume. SPCE, no volume. SPCE just trades like crap. Lucid, I do not like how Lucid trades either. It's kind of in that basket with FSR and Neo. I don't really like how Neo trades either, but it does look good this morning. That's why I do have it up on the list. Pfizer, ChargePoint again. A lot of these names, just not a whole lot going on. So it looks like we pretty much have our list for the open. Still going through here, just double checking, but I'm not really seeing any other new. Okay, so we've got 4 setups to watch into the open, at least so far. Let me get all these setups here. We've got EDU, we've got Neo, we've got Snap, we've got Adobe, possibly Adobe. That's a big possibly. I'm not really too sure of Adobe yet. And we have Carvana. So we have 5 full setups to watch. We have one that's kind of an iffy one. So we have 4 for sure setups to watch. AMD not so sure about. How about our gap downs? Do we have any decent gap downs with some volume? CKPT, nothing. No volume on a lot of these names. I see GOTU finally gapped down. I stayed away from this all last week because these China names have been getting wrecked. I mean, you figure stuff like CHSN, that thing is down like, what, 80%, 90% on Friday? These China names have just been getting crushed. And for that reason, I wanted to avoid GOTU. I know EDU is China, but I don't mind EDU. I don't mind EDU. The way that it trades, it's not as pumpy and dumpy as some of those other names like GOTU and CHSN. I mean, this thing is just grinds. So, definitely one to watch. Definitely one to watch. And I cannot believe EDU. I haven't even looked at this in months. And to see that it, made that move all the way from the twos, because this had a big dump in 2021. I remember this. It was TAL, it was EDU, it was a lot of these China EDU names. They all collapsed at the same time due to some new Chinese guidelines. And then boom, now it's, from less than $1 all the way back to 90 bucks a share now this year. I mean, that's just insane. Who knew? But definitely one to watch up here today. CHSN obviously on the gap down list. So I'm not really seeing anything else on the gap down list. Affirm with the gap down this morning. So I didn't have Affirm on the nightly watch list. I had it on the swing watch list for this week. And it is one to watch for a swing, in my opinion. So I'd be keeping an eye on that. I don't know what the gap down is from this morning. Maybe just from being a bit overextended. Looks like, yeah, so Affirm stock dips after Morgan Stanley downgrades, saying the rally is overdone. So it looks like they set their price target to 20 bucks, which in my opinion is a little low for this. I think after making the move from 16 to 47 bucks, I think that a little pullback is definitely going to be natural here down into the 30s. And I think you can probably catch it for a curl back up, at least up to the 44s from a swing POV. I don't think it's going to give back all of its gains, at least in that short amount of time. So probably make some money on the way back down. But Riot, not a fan. A lot of these gap downs, not really a fan. Not really a fan. It's small cap wise, again, not a whole lot that really tickles me. If something, pops out and I'm like, all right, this is a good setup. BMRA isn't horrible. BRMA is trying to form higher lows here right under VWAP. So the only way that I can really see myself watching this today would be over VWAP. You've got range to what I see on the daily here to about 180, which is really just back to the previous high. Other than that, it's kind of an iffy setup. I don't mind it over VWAP, but that's about the only way you can play it. So over VWAP, you do have range to about 180 on BMRA. Nothing else I really like too much. Thoughts on W, 21 says. Let's see. Thoughts on W. Looks like it tested its range at 67 bucks on Friday. What are you seeing as your range on that? I'm seeing if you watch it off of like a 63, but your range is only back to the 67 from Friday is what I'm seeing. Which could be fine. I'm not saying it's not a bad. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's what I'm seeing. You're looking at it off 64.40. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think where you're at right now in your trading, I think for you, you just need to be backtesting all your plans that you make for the mid and large caps. I mean, that's how you're going to learn best, in my opinion. So, I might have a different plan than you would, but yeah, I would just backtest your plans to see how it goes. Yeah, ICCT, I don't like at all. Looks like crap. Looks like crap. BMRA, I don't mind over VWAP, though. I don't like it here, but I don't mind it over VWAP. And again, I'm personally, these small cap names, I found so much success in the mid and large cap names over the course of the last 6 months whenever I look back at my stats from the last year. And seeing that most of my consistency comes from the mid and large names, it's almost a no-brainer, right? Because you get so much slippage in the small caps, you get so much erratic price action in the small caps. For me, again, it is a no-brainer. But yeah, I mean, this morning, small cap wise, let's see, ARQT, I don't like. Price action looks horrible. BMRA is not bad, though. BMRA is not bad. So you can watch BMRA over VWAP, but that's about the only way you can watch it. Even then, it's not a very liquid name, but you can keep an eye on that today. Was there news on it this morning? I think I saw news. No, I don't see news here. Unless there's news over here on Webull. Yes, there is. FDA clearance for their test product to detect something bacteria. Okay. Yeah, so you can watch this today over VWAP. If it can find buyers out of open, you've got a nice look. Maybe off of one, let's say like a 155 or so. Let's see where it opens. Yeah, I mean 21. There's A plus opportunities everywhere for sure, but the issue with small caps is they're so volatile that it's easy to fall into the trap of trading those setups that are C and D opportunities. Just because you think they look good, it's so easy to just fall into those, and that's where all the chop happens. Because you can go from one setup on, I mean, if we trade stuff like a firm and there's liquidity there, right? You know it's going to be liquid enough to trade, and there's not going to be a lot of slippage. It's going to be easy in and out. It's going to be pretty predictable for the most part. But then you go to something like a BMRA when you look at it this morning and you're like, man, this thing looks so good. It's got so much liquidity, and price action looks so strong. Then you hop in and boom, you catch a knife down 10%. You get a fill at 15%. It's just like it's hard to actually read the structure of some of these moves because it could just be like a handful of buyers from some pump and dump room moving these stocks up. Once they pull the plug out, then you're stuck trying to sell on the way down. You just get all screwed. That's not going to happen on something like in a firm. So, um, more room for error. Yeah, they're more forgiving, I would say. Well, not more forgiving, but I would say it's like just like we talked about how there's obviously going to be less slippage. You don't have all those different variables of the halts and the offerings and all that jazz. Obviously, that risk is always there, but it's a lot less common in the larger names. So that's the way that I see it, and I think it's a good thing. Small caps have their place, obviously, and I'm not taking them out completely. Like I said, BMRA is not a bad look over VWAP. I would keep an eye on this definitely. But yeah, as far as overall trading, I do think most consistency is going to have to come from the mid and the large. And whenever those perfect setups come along, I've got nothing wrong with trading small caps. I just don't want to have that scalpy approach service wise anymore. I want to have that bigger picture service where we don't have to sit here and try and get an entry within 5 seconds, right? You can sit back and actually wait for the entry that you want. You've got time. Obviously, some trades are going to be quick. Some trades are going to be quick. But, having that super scalpy focus, you guys have no time to actually plan the trades. You've got no time to actually look at the trade and see what my plan is. I don't like that. Don't like it at all. All right, so I'm going to put BMRA on the pre-market list. All right, we've got BMRA posted up. I'll watch it today. BMRA, Adobe, Snap, Neo, EDU. Adobe being my least favorite of the batch, so probably avoid Adobe today. Let me get all my charts up real quick, and make sure all of you guys have your charts up as well. I mean, there's what 6 charts to have up today. So let me get all of them pulled up. Get all your levels marked up. Get price alerts set if you must. We've got about 28 minutes until the bell. And keep in mind it's Monday. Again, Mondays have been super, super choppy. We all know that. We can all look at our calendars and tell that Mondays have been choppy. So they're going to be small green, small red, or break even probably. And yeah, so we just got to be a little careful today. We just have to be aware of how Mondays have been in the past. So Carvana today, we wanted to watch that. Let's see, over 49. So I wanted to watch it down here off of this previous low from the first day's move. And man, Carvana on the daily looks primed. It really does look primed. If it can get up through that 58 spot, it's long gone. It is long gone. So my plan on Carvana today is kind of a out of the ordinary plan because I would normally have played a setup like this as coiling up pretty tight on the daily to the upside. I would have played it maybe over a 51.30, 51.20, but I'm risking a little bit lower in this. Max risk a little bit lower just because I feel like it's going to try and kind of grab liquidity to the lows. I think it's going to try and sweep down to the lows, stop everybody out, then try and track back higher up towards 55, 58. So trying to leave it some room just in case, but the reward is there, so I'm okay with taking a little bit more risk. BMRA we've got, let me get all of these pulled up. BMRA. Got that one marked up. Okay, we've got Snap, we've got Neo. Again, make sure you have all of your charts ready to go. And EDU. And a lot of these setups, I mean, they look fantastic for today. I'm a big fan of a lot of them. Some of them we need to have them set up a bit more, like a Neo and a Snap and stuff like that. Need to see them actually confirm after open, but Carvana, EDU, fantastic. I really, really like EDU. It's holding up well. I don't know what the news is on EDU, though. It just reclaimed. Let's see if I have news here on Webull. I'm not seeing news. No, I'm not seeing news on EDU. I don't know. I don't know. But a big gap 4 a.m. I mean, this thing gapped 6 points. No, 7 points, 8 points at 4 a.m. So I'm a little bit intrigued. Have to see what the move is after open. If buyers still like it up here, that'll be a great sign. So it'll be one to look at. And that'll be to watch over 76 bucks today, which again is a little bit loose. I'm probably going to end up raising that to probably 77 or 77.50 whenever I actually go to play this. It really just depends on where buyers end up coming in. Might even go back to a 76.90 like I've got on my charts on the pre-market list. So either a 76 or a 76.90, depending on where we find buyers. May just watch it off 76.90 just to kind of keep it a little bit tighter. We'll see. But other than that, I mean, gapper-wise, not really a whole lot going on. Let me turn on sound so I can listen in and see what we've got moving. But yeah, nothing really standing out a whole lot for me this morning. Liquidity sucks on a lot of the names, except for the mid and the large caps we've got so far. I mean, Snap looks good, Carvana good, EDU good. And the float on these names, EDU, for example, 162 million shares. Snap, 1.27 billion shares. Carvana, 103 million shares. So they're larger names. They are kind of whales, but they do trade really well, at least typically. And make sure to keep an eye on the swing watch list too. I'm actually going to take a few minutes now to set some price alerts on those names. And I would suggest that you do the same for names like GS, for names like Google, for mainly for Affirm. Everything else is kind of in their entry zones for swings, but Affirm I would at least set a price alert on because I wanted entry on that down pretty low. So all you've got to do is just look at the entry criteria on that swing watch list and just set a price alert. So for me, I'm going to set one down here at like 37 bucks. That's where I'll start to watch it. I'll start to watch it more like a 37.30 actually. So I just set a price alert on Affirm. I'm going to be watching that one this week, obviously, for that entry down low. And we've now got 23 minutes until open. It is Monday. Where do we need the market to hold today? Let me see. Where do we need the market to hold today? Do we just want to watch it off 470 again today? I mean, realistically, the 469s needs to be held. Market looks good. As long as we can hold 469s, you've got that room now. I mean, if you break over the 471.80s, if you look at the daily here on SPY, I mean, really, Webull's charts are so screwed up, actually. I can't even tell where the all-time high is on Webull because the charts aren't even loading that time frame. Oh, brother. Let me see if I can get some other charts pulled up here. I usually don't have issues with Webull charts, but yeah, charts for SPY on Webull are so wrong. Because the all-time high on Webull is showing like 470, 469 or something. So over 471.8. Let's see, you've got range up after that. Really, to the next range is going to be 474 to like that 480 area, which is going to be the actual all-time high. PMRI catching a little bit of volume here. Like I said, I would watch this and see if it wants to base over VWAP. I wouldn't take it right over VWAP. I would wait and see if it wants to find some form of low off of VWAP. Play it off the curl off of VWAP for the move up through the high. I wouldn't play it here. I wouldn't play it anywhere on the initial break of 1.5, 1.6. Neo testing H6. It may be invalid for us today. We might not end up playing Neo today. Right now, we've just got EDU and CVNA, which are my, well, and Snap. Those are my 3 favorites. US Steel starting to take a beating here. Ticker X. And that thing ramped up huge last week, too. I believe on buyout news. Some type of sale news. That is why I typically avoid those names. Now, going into today, again, it is Monday, so if you have any questions from last week, maybe you have something that you struggled with last week, definitely make sure you speak up at some point this morning before open, just so I've got time to actually answer it. Otherwise, after open, and we're going to be looking, we're going to be focused, we're going to be dialed in, so if you have any pain points that you've been struggling with, make sure you speak up. Make sure to toss it in chat. Nobody's going to make fun of you. Nobody's going to harass you. You know, last week, it was actually a pretty good week last week. Monday and Friday were a little bit choppy. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday turned out to be really, really good days. Tuesday was great. Thursday, another great day. Wednesday was slow in the morning, but then we had Carvana in the afternoon. So just by staying disciplined and picky last week, I was able to end the week on a pretty nice green note. So I was pretty stoked about that. And I mean, if you can finish a green week last week, stay super, super disciplined like we did last week, you know, weeks like today, weeks like this week should be a piece of cake. We've got no news this week, at least no substantial news like we had last week. I mean, last week we had news after news after news after news. We had CPI followed by FOMC, followed by OPEX on Friday. OPEX price action was horrible. FOMC price action was horrible until after FOMC when it was actually clean, clean, clean with Carvana. Yeah, I'm looking now. We don't really have any substantial news this week. Now, next week, of course, the market's closed on Monday. Not a whole lot of news next week either. For some reason, January's news isn't loading, but yeah, so we should be good news-wise, aside from the regular news. All we're doing now is keeping an eye on the scanner, see what's going to be moving here going into the open. We already have our plans all ready to go. And I've been kind of enjoying, too. We talked about it in the class last night, too. And if you weren't in the class, make sure you do show up to these classes on Sundays. You can, you know, ask questions. And, you know, I've got over an hour to help everybody through their questions and their struggles through the last weeks. But, you know, we talked about it last night. The difference between trading in pre-market and after the open. For one, obviously, you've got more liquidity, so fills are less of an issue. A lot of you struggle with limit orders, right? A lot of you struggle with getting stopped in pre-market. So for me, again, from a consistency POV, I feel like just waiting until after open for a lot of these names is just the right thing to do. And I mean, obviously, if we find a good setup in pre-market to play it, but from an ease of trading POV. BMRA finding volume over VWAP here. See if it wants to set up. You want to see it pull back and base over VWAP, otherwise I'm not going to take it. Excuse me. Still have eyes over here on Neo too. Neo is just testing that 8-6, testing that 8-6, trying to break through 8-6. Got bought back up off 8-6. Kind of a light buy up off 8-6, so I do want to watch that one out of open too. Of course, no trade on BMRA, not really doing a great job of finding buyers off of VWAP. So we've got EDU, CBNA, Neo, and Snap. We got 4 main watches here. There's the breakdown on BMRA. That's why it's so important. You actually have to give things time to set up. Don't want to jump the gun. There's never a reason to jump the gun. Let me get my plans up on the screen here.